The Tiger Swami. I have discovered the Tiger Swami's address. Let us visit him tomorrow. This welcome suggestion came from Chandi, one of my high school friends. I was eager to meet the saint who, in his pre-monastic life, had caught and fought tigers with his naked hands. A boyish enthusiasm over such remarkable feat was strong within me. The next day downed wintry cold, but Chandi and I sailed forth gaily. After much vain hunting in Bhavanipur outside Calcutta, we reached at the right house. The door held 2 iron rings, which I sounded piercingly. Notwithstanding the clamour, a servant approached with leisurely gait. His ironic smile implied that noisy visitors were powerless to disturb the calmness of a saint's home. Feeling this silent rebuke, my companion and I were thankfully to be invited into the parlour. Our long wait there beset us misgivings. India's unwritten law for the truth seeker is patience. A master may purposefully make a test of one's eagerness to meet him. This psychological ruse is freely employed in the West by doctors and dentists. Finally summoned by the servant, Chandi and I entered a sleeping apartment. The famous Sohan Swami was seated on his bed. His sight of his tremendous body affected us strangely. With bulging eyes, we stood speechless. We had never before seen such a chest or such football-like biceps. On an immense neck, the Swami's fierce yet calm face was adorned with flowing locks, beard and moustache. A hint of dove-like and tiger-like qualities shone in his dark eyes. He was unclothed, save for a tiger skin about his muscular waist. Finding our voices, my friend I greeted the monk, expressing our admiration of his prowess in the extraordinary feline arena. Will you not tell us, please, how is it possible to subdue with bare fist the most ferocious of jungle beasts, the royal Bengals? My son, it is nothing to me to fight tigers. I could do it today if necessary. He gave a childlike laugh. You look upon tigers as tigers. I know them as pussycats. Swamiji, I think I could impress my subconscious with the thought that tigers are pussycat. But could I make tigers believe it? Of course, strength also is necessary. One may not expect victory from a baby who imagines a tiger to be a house cat. Powerful hands are my sufficient weapon. He asked us to follow him to the Paito, where he struck the edge of a wall. A brick crashed to the floor. The sky peered boldly through the gap. The loose teeth space in the wall. I straggled in the astonishment. He who can remove a moderate brick from a solid wall with one blow, I thought, must surely be able to displace the teeth of tigers. A man having physical power such as mine, but still lacking cool confidence. Those who are bodily but not mentally starved may find themselves fainting at the mere sight of a wild beast bounding freely in the jungle. The tiger, in its natural ferocity and habitat, is vastly different from the open-feed circus animal. Many a man with Herculean strength has nonetheless been terrorized into abject helplessness before the onslaught of a royal Bengal. Thus, the tiger has converted the man in his own mind to state as fearful as the pussycats. It is possible for a man owning a fairly strong body and an immense strength determination to turn the tables on the tiger and force it to be conviction of a pussycat defenselessness. How often I have done just that? I was quite willing to believe that the Tibetan before me was able to perform the tiger pussycat metamorphosis. He seemed to be in a didactic mood. Chandi and I listened respectfully. Mind is the wielder of muscles. The force of a hammer blow depends on the energy applied. The power expressed by a man's bodily instrument depends on his aggressive will and courage. The body is literally manufactured and sustained by the mind. Through pressure of instance from past lives, strengths or weaknesses percolate gradually into human consciousness. They express as habits, which in turn manifest as desirable or an undesirable body. Outward frightly as a mental origin. In a vicious circle, the habit-bound body thwarts the mind. If the master allows himself to be commanded by a servant, the latter becomes autocratic. The mind is similarly enslaved by submitting to bodily dictation. At our entreaty, the impressive Swami consented to tell us something of his own life. My earliest ambition was to kill tigers. My will was mighty, but my body was feeble. An ejaculation of surprise broke from me. It appeared incredible that this man, now with Atlantean shoulders, fit to bear, could ever have known weaknesses. It was by indomitable persistency in thoughts of health and strength that I overcame my handicap. I have every reason to extol the compelling mental vigor which I found to be the real subduer of royal Bengals. Do you think, revered Swami, that I could ever fight tigers? This was the first time and the last that the baser ambition ever visited my mind. Yes, he was smiling. But there are many kinds of tigers. Some roar in jungles of human desires. No spiritual benefit accrues by knocking beasts unconscious. Rather, be victor over the inner prolats. Maybe here, sir, how you changed from a tamer of wild tigers to a tamer of wild passions. The tiger Swami fell into silence. Remoteness came into his gaze, summoning visions of bygone years. I discerned his slight mental struggle to decide whether to grant my request. Finally, he smiled in acquiescence. When my fame reached a zenith, it brought the intoxication of pride. I decided not only to fight tigers but to display them in various tricks. My ambition was to force savage beasts to behave like domesticated ones. I began to perform my fist publicly with gratifying success. One evening, my father entered my room in pensive mood. Son, I have words of warning. I would save you from coming ills produced by the grinding wheels of cause and effect. Are you a fatalist, father? Should superstition be allowed to discolor the powerful waters of my activities? I am not fatalist, son, but I believe in the just law of retribution as taught in the Holy Scriptures. There is resentment against you in the jungle family. Sometime it may act to your cost. Father, you astonish me. You well know what? Tigers are beautiful but merciless. Who knows, my blows may inject some slight sanity of consideration into their thick heads. I am master in the forest finishing school to teach them gentle manners. Please, Father, think of me as tiger tamer, never as a tiger killer. How could my good action bring ill upon me? I beg you not to impose any comment that I can change my way of life. Chandi and I were all attention. Understanding the past dilemma, in India, a child does not lightly disobey his parents' wishes. The Tiger Swami went on. In stoic silence, Father listened to my explanation. He followed it with a disclosure which he uttered gravely. Son, you compel me to relate an ominous prediction from the lips of a saint. He appeared me yesterday as I sat on the veranda in my daily meditation. Dear friend, I come with a message for your diligent son. Let him cease his savage activities. Otherwise, his next tiger encounter shall result in his severe wounds, followed by 6 months of deadly sickness. He shall forsake his former ways and become a monk. This tale did not impress me. I considered that Father had been the greediest victim of a deluded fanatic. The Tiger Swami made this confession with an impatient gesture, as though at some stupidity. Grimly silent for a long time, he seemed oblivious of our presence. When he took up the dangling thread of his narrative, it was suddenly with subdued voice. No longer after Father's warning, I visited the capital city of Coach Bihar. The picturesque territory was new to me, and I expected a restful change. As usual, everywhere a curious crowd followed me on the street. I would catch bits of whispered comment. This is the man who fights wild tigers. I repeat, this is the man who fights wild tigers. Has he legs or tree trunks? Look at his face. He must be an incarnation of King of Tiger himself. You know how village uchins function like final editions of a newspaper? With what speed do the even latest speech bulletin of a woman circulate from house to house? Within a few hours, the whole city was in the state of excitement over my presence. I was relaxing quietly in the evening. When I heard the hoofbeats of galloping horses, they stopped in front of my dwelling place. In came a number of tall, turbaned policemen. I was taken aback. All things are possible unto these creatures of human law, I thought. I wonder if they are going to take me to ask about matters utterly unknown to me. But the officers bowed with unwounded courtesy. Honored sir, we are sent to welcome you on behalf of Prince of Coach Bihar. He is pleased to invite you to his palace tomorrow morning. I speculated a while on the prospect. For some obscure reason, I felt sharp regret at this interpretation in my quiet trip. But the suppliant manner of the policeman moved me. I agreed to go. I was bewildered the next day to the obsequiously, escorted from my door into magnificent coach drawn by 4 horses. A servant held an orange umbrella to protect me from the scorching sunlight. I enjoyed the pleasant ride through the city and its woodland outskirts. The royal scion himself was at the palace door to welcome me. He performed his own gold-broched seat, smilingly placing himself in a chair of simpler design. All this politeness is certainly going to cost me something, I thought in maintaining astonishment. The prince's motive emerged after a few casual remarks. My city is filled with the rumor that you can fight wild tigers with nothing more than your naked hands. Is it a fact? It is quite true. I can scarcely believe it. You are Calcutta Bengali, nurtured on the white rice of city flock. Be frank, please. Have you not been fighting only spineless, opium-feeded animals? His voice was loud and sarcastic. His speech tinged with provincial accent. I vouchsafed no reply to his insulting question. I challenge you to fight my newly caught tiger, Raja Begum. If you can successfully resist him, bind him with a chain and depart his cage in a conscious state, you shall have this royal Bengal. Several thousand rupees and many other gifts shall also be bestowed. If you refuse to meet him in combat, I shall blond your name throughout the state as an importer. His insolent words struck me like a volley of bullets. I shot in angry acceptance. Half risen from the chair in the excitement, the prince shrank back with a saddish smile. I was reminded of the Roman emperor who delighted in setting Christmas in Bristol arenas. He said, "The match will be set for a week hence." I regret that I cannot give permission to view the tiger in advance. Whether the prince feared I might seek to hypnotize the beast or secretly feed him opium, I know not. I left the palace nothing with amusement that the royal umbrella and panoplied coach were now missing. The following week, I methodologically prepared my mind and body for coming ordeal. Through my servant, I learnt of a fantastical tales. The saint's dearful predictions of my father had somehow got abroad. Enlarging as it ran, many simple villagers believed that an evil spirit, cursed by the gods, had reincarnated as a tiger which took various demonic forms at night, but remained a stripped animal during the day. This demon tiger was supposed to be the one sent by the humble me.